You are listening to Let's Talk Trio on podcast. Keep up with the latest episodes by downloading the Podbean app or stream episodes via our social media accounts. Search for Let's Talk Trio on Facebook or Instagram. This episode is sponsored by Student Access. Student Access, the leader in Trio software. Student Access is an online database solution that allows Trio programs to track their students' information, connect with students by text messages, streamline the APR, and work from anywhere, all online, with automatic updates for changes from the Department of Education. Their technical support team includes former Trio staff and has over 50 years of combined experience working with Trio. Make it easier to focus on your priority, the students. For more information and to request a free demo, visit their website at www.studentaccess.com or call them toll-free at 1-800-801-1232. That website again is www.studentaccess.com or 1-800-801-1232. Be sure to share your favorite episodes on your social media by tapping that share button. This is a great way to support the podcast. Now here's your host, Juan Rivas.
Thank you, Amelia, for that wonderful introduction. Welcome, listeners, to another episode of Let's Talk Trio.
I am your host, Juan Rivas.
In this episode, we have Magda Martinez-Baca, the director for the Central New Mexico Community College Student Support Services Program. In this interview, we wanted to really highlight and profile the director to get the person behind the program and their inspiration and their journey as they took on many positions to get to eventually be a director. The inspiration behind every single episode as we do profile on professionals is to get their inspiration and why they decided to take the path that they're on. Full disclaimer for our audience. So Magda and I do go way back when I was serving the Trio programs back in New Mexico. And I always saw Magda as this fearless leader. She always very vocal, very passionate, and always stood in front of other Trio professionals to advocate for not only her students, but for Trio overall. And that is a very admirable quality. I think when we think about Trio directors, we think of leaders like Magda who step up and advocate on behalf of students, on behalf of their program, and have a good grasp of what Trio is all about. So that was the intent of all of our interviews, all of our profiles for each director, so that the audience can see the person running the program behind the desk, what they're doing to keep their program afloat, to keep their program on the forefront and at their institution. So that's why we do these profiles. So coming up next and here in a little bit is Magda Martinez-Baca in this interview. If you would like to be featured on Let's Talk Trio, send us a message via Facebook or Instagram. We would like to thank our big sponsor for this segment of the episode, Student Access.
Please sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode.
4, 3, 2, 1. Our guest to the Let's Talk Trio podcast is currently the director for the Trio Student Support Services Program at Central New Mexico Community College. She is a graduate of the University of Texas at Austin and attained a bachelor's degree in psychology. She also graduated from the Texas A&M University at Kingsville with a master's degree in counseling psychology. She's been with the Trio programs for about 19 years and is now currently working 22 years with Central New Mexico Community College. Prior to working in Trio, she's worked with the New Mexico and Texas Educational Grant Programs and is currently a member of the Trio New Mexico and Southwest Association of Student Assistance Programs, also known as SWASAP. Please help me welcome Magda Martinez-Baca to the Let's Talk Trio podcast. Magda, welcome.
Hey, thank you, Juan. Appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Glad to have you here. First of all, I'm so sorry to hear that the Trio New Mexico conference was canceled. It sounded like a great opportunity for Trio staff to network.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was postponed. We had a board meeting a couple weeks ago, so we rescheduled it for October, and we're going to meet in Santa Fe. But before that, next month, we're going to meet online, chat online, and do our business, conduct our business with voting for elections and having a business meeting. But we'll be able to see each other in October, so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah. So it sounds like with the whole COVID-19 happening, everybody's been transitioning to online meetings and working from home. How has your family handling the COVID-19 pandemic?
It's been up and down. It's been a little stressful, but we are getting into the swing of, swing of things. Just trying to set up things from home. If you can imagine working on different teams with the college and
Oh, sure.
staffing,
Hmm.
making sure they have, what they need. If they don't, what are some resources, trying to get things going, because it's just not one group, it's many groups, within the
Yeah.
community. And then piling that on with family and with students, and but it's overall, we're so blessed. It's been good. It's been a difficult transition, but we're doing well, and who knows how long this is going to go. I know in New Mexico, schools are canceled for the rest of the school year.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
yeah, for the rest of the school year. And so next week we're going to get information about curriculum, or how expectations and schedules basically from the school, so that way students can work from home, and some people have resources and things they can, computers or phones from home. Some people don't, so
Hmm.
it's challenging for a lot of people, and we're fortunate here to have what we need. But I was just on a conference call via WebEx with President's Council with our president of our college,
Hmm.
and right now we have employees that are going to be working from home until May 3rd, but it's probably going to go longer than that.
Wow.
Yeah, and the state has a stimulus package that they are just federal law, actually, in the state,
Hmm.
stimulus bill that just went through yesterday. So our college is looking at how to put that all together and continue paid leave for some employees that aren't able to work from home, at least
Yeah.
for 2 weeks after the April 5th initial deadline, I guess. But yeah, it's just, we're just trying to keep people safe, and then that information filters down. Then we just help each other, help the staff, employees, and help our students. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. I think now
yeah,
is a good time to kind of re-examine how we do work and how
totally.
hourly employees are being treated. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Magda, oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's just a change for the better. I think this is a blessing in
Yeah,
disguise. Be positive about it. Yeah.
absolutely. So what are some of your hobbies that you've discovered now in this kind of, going through this whole COVID-19 thing and being at home? Are there any favorite hobbies or downtime activities that you enjoy?
I cleaned up the garage. No, that's not that's not a hobby. No, actually, just outside of that, having opportunities to be with a family, and just trying to drag my son away from video games. Just
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that.
right, but no, trying to keep things on a regular schedule has been helpful.
Yeah.
But I was happy that I was able to um, go for a bike ride, because initially bike shops weren't on the list, for the governor's list for essential, employees or essential jobs,
Hmm.
but they got on the list. And this week they're going to be closing, but I was able to get my bike tuned up and go for a bike ride. So
Well,
I
that's
love
good.
getting outdoors. Yeah, I love nature and getting outdoors and meditating as much as I can daily,
Yeah.
and praying and being with family, and yeah,
Yeah.
so it's been good. It's been good.
So would you put that under some things? These are some things that people really don't know about you, or what are some things that people don't know about you?
I do teach religious ed 6th grade class. I don't think people would know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I like that. I love. I don't know if I'd say I'm religious. I guess I am, but I'm more spiritual, and I really love to connect to kids,
Hmm.
and letting people know when just having discussions and talking about a higher power, talking about God, and
Yeah.
having a relationship with God, and the spiritual aspects. So I don't think people may know about that
Yeah.
about me. Yeah, and I'm one out of 9 children. I have a big family.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, Yeah. And I have
Oh,
2 beautiful kids, and I'm married for many years.
yeah. Well, that's wonderful. Are you the oldest in your family or the
No,
youngest?
I'm number 7, lucky
Number
7.
7. All
Yeah.
right. Lucky number 7. So we're
Yeah.
going to go ahead and dive right into this question right here. How did you find your path into college?
Well, I think it was always expected. My mother, uh, I graduated with my sister, my oldest sister, from college. And so I was a first generation college student. So while growing up, um, but it was expected, you need to go. And being, a good girl, I was expected and went in that direction. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know, trying to figure things out. It's the point of, they know education's always been very important in my family, but it's the how to, didn't really know how, just do what you can to get there. And of course, being a student of financial aid myself, and trying to make ends meet and always working since I was, 15, 16, I've been always working. So, yeah, it's just a good experiences. Went to community college. I work at a community college now. I love community colleges. Went to school, graduate school. I was in a PhD program, but I didn't complete that. It was just a change of goals and plans. But yeah, I thank my parents, for instilling a higher ed in everyone. Everyone in my family has a higher ed except for one who's working and doing other things. But everybody, yeah, we're fortunate.
That's very good. So I read that you got your bachelor's degree in psychology. How did you end up in the current career path in education and being a director for the SSS program at CNM?
Thanks. Gosh, I'm just feel so excited about that and how it happened. It's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever felt like something's right in front of you and you're and just it's just destiny. So I've always been drawn to higher ed and educational programs, and I worked as an AmeriCorps member for a few years with TRIO programs in graduate school, and then I moved. That was in Texas, and then I moved to Albuquerque for graduate school. Not my master's; I already had my master's, but a PhD program in educational psychology at the University of New Mexico. So with that experience, and I worked. I had a counseling degree, but I was still looking for a professional job, and that was difficult, humbling experience. And then it was TBI at the time, which is now CNM. But I was interviewed for a job, and the first 3 people, and that's a time where HR, I mean, it's kind of slow now, but it's like it was very slow. And the first 3 people already that they selected for the job took on other jobs. So I was new. I was very green. And so I got this counseling job at TBI and really excited about that. And then while I was working as a counselor, I saw that CNM applied for a TRIO program. And so I pursued that, years later, and pursued that. And my boss's boss, who is Philip Bustos, he recently retired as vice president of student services. But I said, hey, I applied for this job, and my first name is Maria. I go by my
I did not know that.
Yeah, I go by my middle name Magda, short for Magdalena, so Maria Magdalena. And they're, oh, you're Maria? He's like, I didn't know you by Magda, And so saw my resume and talked to me, and then I was interviewed, and so happy I spoke up, But yeah, 19 years later. But before that, I worked for UNM, and I worked for TBI and educational grant programs and helping students and trainings. But real excited because I knew about TRIO, and my mother years ago worked with TRIO programs as well.
Oh, wow.
In South Texas at Texas A&M University. At a branch university there. But so I feel like I just was meant to do this. I don't know if you, Juan, you have that feeling, and some of my close friends and colleagues, we've talked about it. It's like you're just meant to do what you're doing. You just feel it in your bones and your heart.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel about where I am now.
Absolutely. That's amazing. So reflecting on your career and your journey through college, did you face any challenges, adversity, or obstacles as you took this journey?
Yeah, I think growing just in my own skin or my own person, with confidence, having the challenges of confidence, self-esteem,
Mhm.
thinking of, I don't know, maybe a lot of girls and women have this, or anybody, just wanting to do the right thing, feeling a lot of pressure, having doubts. Everybody has doubts, and just really having the courage, uh, and digging deep and figuring out you can do it. Like, you do have that courage, you have that hope,
Right.
you have that, you have that, ganas or
Oh
guts,
my God.
you know,
Yeah.
those things, and just figuring it out. That was a very, I mean, it's ongoing, right? It's every day, but
Mhm.
figuring that out and really setting that as a core value that you have, and hanging on to that, and hanging on to that is what I mean by that is feeding it
Yeah.
every day, that core hope and spirit, that you have. And so, yeah, I'd say for many years, I was very, okay, don't say anything, don't speak up.
Mhm.
Is this correct? Should I say, should I do? So a lot of, I guess that's challenge of growing into being your own person, and knowing that, hey, if you see a need, you need to reach out, you need to figure things out and grow together, because
Yeah.
we're not alone. And to have those connections are so important within and with others.
Absolutely. So this ability to relate to students is an important aspect of TRIO programs. Has your college experience provided you with those opportunities to connect with other students or peers, or how do you relate to students?
I think it goes from the top down. I mean, it doesn't have to be from the top down, but
Hmm.
where I work in, our college has always been so connected to what TRIO does, and it has an open communication. I'm part of President's Council, as I said earlier. I'm on the Student Services Directors team with our Vice President of Student Services. Our programs, yes, are funded for students and our participants, but every opportunity we have to collaborate with other students, with our college, we do. With services, with events, with workshops, we just, would transfer to universities. um, yeah, we are. It's just wonderful. It's not, I hear from other people across the country, especially within our region, and they're like, Magda, you're doing so much for the it's because the college, it trusts, and we have great communication connections, and that just makes it so much better and easier access with students, and helping
Hmm.
our students connect with other resources within the community, of course, within our college, and it just goes on and on and on, you
Hmm.
know. And it just helps from personal support to academic support to helping a person grow. Like for
Absolutely.
scholarship opportunities, for example, our college received 800,000 last week, and today was announced another $10,000
Oh, wow.
for scholarships. Yeah, for scholarships.
It's
And
amazing.
so we're definitely connecting our students with that, especially with COVID-19 and what's going on. And
Hmm.
our group has scholarships for students too. So we're just really helping students, where they are, and connecting them. And the goal right now, of course, is health, and our families, and finishing up this spring semester, because our college and many colleges are for the rest of the spring semester is online.
Hmm.
So, you can imagine students signing up for their classes face to face,
Yeah,
and then it's online. I mean, that's huge for a lot of people.
absolutely. Yeah.
So trying to help them in many ways, and continuing that communication. And we're constant, and we're
Yeah.
adapting.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. It's huge. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it sounds like you and your TRIO staff engage students almost on a daily basis. Some student stories, when they share where they come from, their background, that can get pretty heavy. So how do you and your staff recharge after heavy conversations or discussions about financial need?
Well, just like right now, I'm breathing, taking a deep breath. Yeah, a lot of breathing, and just centering myself before, even during, and after. What comes to my mind is breath work, meditating, and just reminding myself, we're in this together, and anything that I can do, I pray to the Holy Spirit. I talk to team, I talk to the staff. I'm vulnerable, I say, hey, I didn't know this, what do you know about this? Or you just got to help ourselves. And when we help ourselves, be grounded, we get others. I think we help others better,
Absolutely.
Better people for it. Yeah.
Earlier, you alluded to that, you belong in Trio when you feel it in your bones and in your blood. Something that I learned in my experience with Trio is that you must have a heart of service. So can you explain to the audience what that means? Because I hear that a lot. You have to have the heart of service.
Oh yeah. Servant leadership, heart of service. Yeah. I was brought up that way in my family. My sister Nelda was the mayor of Corpus Christi, Texas. I have 2 priests that are brothers. I have people that serve on boards in my family and friends. It's just something that's ingrained in you from a little. And then when you get that fire, like I get so excited, Juan, when I see somebody graduate. I get so excited when students get a scholarship, when they're accepted to get a job, when they're accepted to universities. I can't tell you, I just get, like right now, my throat, just thinking about it, gets swelled up, and I just find so much joy. If I can just be a part of somebody's journey and see them a part of their dream fulfilled, it's just the best feeling, what their children and helping their families. And so the heart of service, I think it's you can learn it, and also you can be born with it too. I think it's both. And then you're a part of it. It's a ripple effect, and you share it with others, and then others feel it and do it. So it's a sense, it's a feeling, but it's also your brain, of course, your mind. But it's a movement. I swear, it's a movement, and it keeps going.
Absolutely. I know you've kind of defined Trio as we went. You've alluded to as a program itself, what it does for students. But for you, what does Trio mean to you?
Well, our previous admin joked around, and because how people may still think that Trio is an acronym.
Oh yeah, a lot of people do.
Yeah. So our previous admin, he said, my friend Willie, he said, well, it is an acronym. I said, stop spreading that around. It's not, he said, it stands for, Magda, it stands for truly rare inspirational opportunity. And I just really that. Yeah, I love that because, it is, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for growth, for hope, an opportunity for education, for ourselves, for our families. So yeah, it's not an acronym, but I think Trio's like that.
I think we should officially adopt that as the acronym for Trio. That would be great.
Right? Yeah, I love it.
So what are some things that you wish you knew as a college-going student, something that you would give advice to students?
First thing that comes to mind is that, and what I've learned over the years, is that everybody has what's called imposter syndrome. Yeah, everybody at one time or another feels like I shouldn't be here, or I don't deserve to be here, or I'm not worthy to be here, or who am I fooling? Those thoughts that come into everybody's head, those negative thoughts and things. And so, I mean, I guess in a way I wish I would have known that, but and the other part of me is kind of glad that I didn't know that, because I think I was able to grow from not knowing that. That makes sense. Yeah. So I was able to grow from that experience and figure it out. And that way I can be even more in touch and authentic with others, through your own growth. I mean, we have to, in order to go through our own pains and struggles and conflicts, that's how you can really help others. So I think that imposter syndrome or just growing to your own and having being real, being real with people and Yeah, I mean, being one of 9 children, I felt lost, and
Mm-hmm.
and like I shared a little bit earlier, a confidence. But I think once you take the leap of faith, and it really is a leap of faith, kind of like you remember the story with Peter Pan,
Oh
and
yeah,
Peter
yeah.
Pan on that boat. Yeah, Peter Pan's on that boat, and Wendy,
Mm-hmm.
and Captain Hook has Wendy, and Wendy's walking the plank.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
she's blind. I think she may be blindfolded, and she's about to, be eaten by crocodiles and jumping off the plank. And she took a leap of faith, and she jumped off the plank because Captain Hook was, forcing her to.
Yeah.
But then Peter Pan was there, and he caught her and swooped her up, and she was saved. And I think a lot of that can be a metaphor for a lot of what we go through when it comes to taking a leap of faith for education, taking
Absolutely.
a leap of faith for our first job and our career, taking a leap of faith and having a baby, getting married, all of those things. We can all connect to that somehow.
Absolutely. What about on the flip end? Any words of wisdom for new trio professionals?
Reach out to other people. Don't think that you need to do it by yourself. Get a mentor or friend. Don't stop if you don't get help. Although I've been so fortunate in Trio to have so many wonderful mentors and friends. Reach out to people, ask questions, read, do your own research. Don't think you know it all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, ego, let that ego go. Just to go from the heart and your senses, and things will work out. Just have faith and reach out to other people.
Absolutely. You have quite a team assisting you with various parts of the program. Who is your staff members, and how many students do you serve?
Yeah, so we have 2 programs at C&M, one at main campus and one at Montoya campus. And each program has an academic coach, achievement coach rather,
Mm-hmm.
tutors. We have tutors at both campuses for our programs, and also admins and student employees. We serve about 180 students at main campus and 150 students at Montoya.
Wow.
And, so as students graduate and transfer, we bring more people on, and we keep going. It's really good. Yeah.
As a matter of good segue of keeping going, so the Department of Education funds all TRIO programs. Is the process to keep the TRIO programs at CNMCC permanent, or how does that work?
Well, we just worked with our executive team and our student services team, and wrote for another TRIO program for veterans. Now, with this COVID-19, we were in a grant writing year for the TRIO student support services programs, across the country. Mm-hmm. So we don't know if that's going to be delayed. This coming week, we're supposed to get more information from U.S. Department of Ed when it comes to this current competition, because we're supposed to hopefully find out June or July of this year for another 5 years of grant funding for programs that are already currently funded, but also the new programs. So I'm kind of concerned, as we all are probably, for new funding, I don't know. I'm kind of worried about that for new grant funding, or new grant writing, I should say, for newer programs. I think if you already have a grant program, it's pretty solid. But as far as C&M, years ago, not so much now, but years ago, we're like, oh, aren't you worried because you're grant funded? You're not like it's on solid money or hard money with the college. I think grant funding and supposedly, in quotes, solid money can be all the same. I really think, because, especially in these times when it comes to state appropriations and federal appropriations for, profit or nonprofits, I just think it's kind of all the same, especially, and nowadays, I know it's not, but it's just especially our Title IV funding through TRIO, it's pretty solid compared to other grant programs and such. We've been around since 1965, the Higher Education Act of 1965, and it's kept going over the years. So, yeah, I really I think a lot of the programming things will continue if Trio finishes or ends at CNM, and it already is very much ingrained. Trio programs and best practices, and it goes hand in hand with CNM proper. What we're already doing, and also programs. Yeah.
Awesome. So, as we wrap up the podcast, what have been some of your favorite memories working in Trio?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, there's like professional development conferences, one-on-one with students, graduations. Students come in and they meet their significant others at the college, and they come back.
That is true.
Introduce their baby, and their family to the staff. Following up and catching up with people, that I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
With professionals as well as students. So many great memories, and sad memories too. I mean, students have died. Students have, in jail. On the other spectrum, or another, people are used to be homeless and now are working and thriving and helping other people. I mean, it's just so many great memories.
Absolutely. You gotta take the good and the bad together, kind of the full spectrum of experiences. Absolutely.
Totally.
So Magda, it has been such a pleasure having you on the podcast. Is there anything you would like to share with our audience before we wrap up?
Oh, just reach out to your colleges, universities, or look up TRIO programs in your state or this state, and spread the word.
Absolutely.
Programs are just so important to our communities and our families, and write for TRIO programs too at your college, university. Look into it and get in touch with me if you'd like. That I'd be happy to help. Fantastic.
Well, Magda, it's such an honor to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with us.
Thank you, Juan. Appreciate you and
Absolutely.
Everything you do for our community. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Are you a participant, alum, or staff of a TRIO program? Do you want your program highlighted? You or your program could be featured in an upcoming episode of Let's Talk TRIO. Get a hold of us by going to our Facebook page or Instagram and send us a direct message. Search for Let's Talk TRIO. We want to get your story to the public.
So you just heard the interview with Magda Martinez-Baca, the director for the Central New Mexico Community College TRIO Student Support Services Program. Magda's interview reminded me about why we are doing this podcast in the first place. We're highlighting the individual stories that bring strength to the TRIO programs. And it's important to note that the individuals that serve TRIO, the individuals that are participate in TRIO, the individuals that give back to TRIO, there's a strength and resiliency that really you don't see anywhere else. And that's why it's important for me to, for us in the podcast, to share these stories. And Magda's story was definitely one where we see the journey, we see the path, and how her influences and how those came to factor into her decision to continue serving in higher education and to provide access and to serve students that would otherwise not be able to attend college. If you would ever like to be featured on Let's Talk TRIO, please reach out to us. We are doing alum interviews, staff interviews, current student interviews. We're also taking panels. If you want to highlight your program on Let's Talk TRIO, we will certainly do that. Right now, we are getting requests for both April and May. We don't know how long this COVID-19 will last. So right now, we've been experimenting with Microsoft Teams. We've been experimenting with Zoom and also looking into Google Meet. We will do pretty much any interview style to fit either a panel or one-on-one interview with individuals. I want to give a quick thanks to all of our team here at Let's Talk TRIO, to Amelia Castañeda for being our producer and marketing manager, John Russell, our audio engineer and tech specialist, myself, Juan Rivas, the executive producer and host. Our honorary members for Let's Talk TRIO include Roderick Chambers, Scott Kendall, and Tony Ho. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode.